A Destrian Network production. Every day I'm struggling.
What?
Not again. Not again.
Oh no, you stupid little fuck!
Little dog.
No, you can't kill me in the door.
The train's not going.
Hashtag I did try.
Every day I'm struggling.
You're listening to The Struggle is Wheel, the premier Wheel of Struggle fancast.
With your hosts, Mr. Mattington and Garlitz.
Wheel of Struggle.
That's a good one.
Welcome on in to The Struggle is Wheel, the premier Wheel of Struggle fancast. My name is Mr. Matt Internet, one of the strugglers from the wheel, and I am joined by the wonderful co-host, probably actually the main host, Garlips.
Thank you very much for that glowing introduction, Mr. Matt. And may I just blow smoke up your ass by also saying you are also a struggler in the wheel, and I'm only here because you peer pressured me into it, so I'm very thankful every day.
Yeah, we probably should end up going over on how we both ended up getting into the wheel. I think we'll start with yourself because it seems like a little bit more of an interesting story, so we'll go with the more interesting story, then we'll end up going with the least interesting story. We'll end up doing it in that sort of order. So, primarily, the way that we got you into the wheel was, in every single one of your streams, I would be constantly going, when are you going to be joining the wheel? When are you going to join the wheel? Why have you not joined the wheel? This is really up your street. I wish you would join the wheel. Stop resisting me. You are joining the wheel. I think that's roughly how it happened.
It was an elaborate and week-long campaign of peer pressure, basically. Peer pressure in the best possible way. You know, sometimes when they tell you to watch out for peer pressure in your life, they're saying things like, don't do the smokes, kids, or don't do the drinkings, because some people might tell you to do it, but you shouldn't. But with the Wheel of Struggle, it was more of a case of, I knew that when I committed to the Wheel of Struggle, that would mean I would be going all in. And I was kind of afraid of going all in. You know, there's kind of like once you do, you can't return, basically. Your world is forever changed. And so that's what I was kind of scared of when it came to the wheel. I was afraid to fully submit myself to the wheel, because I knew that I'd be here for the remainder of however long this struggle continues.
Which, at this point, is only about 3-4 weeks left, isn't it? It's not long left at all.
We are picking a very odd time to begin, but as I was saying to you yesterday, I think it's a really good way for us to just get started now, so that we can build up some steam before we get to season 5. Plus, we've got a bunch of end season break stuff to go over with you guys, including, well, presumably when the games are announced for season 5, we can just kind of go to town on those.
But Garlips, I just want to end up stopping you a little bit there, because you are getting a little bit ahead of yourself.
I am.
We've ended up discussing the fact that you ended up joining the wheel via that process of peer pressure and me wearing you down constantly. But the way that I joined the wheel, as I said, it was a lot simpler. It wasn't as interesting as a story. Basically, someone invited me and I said yes. And that was it.
Now, see, I knew it was a boring story, so I was just trying to skim over it. But, you know, diligence there, we've got to cover it.
We do have to cover it. Another thing that we really must cover is, what the hell is the Wheel of Struggle? Should we make this into a feature?
I think we should, actually. Yeah, I'm going to press a button here. Boop. And stuff happens. Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you see that? It's a feature. So, you want to know what the wheel is? Well, the wheel is a competition between several people based purely on honour, you know, although it does help to have video evidence if you've got it. And it's essentially a challenge every single week based on a different game.
Every week, a new game is selected based on a roulette wheel, which is run on Fish's Twitch stream. The games are selected from previous contestants, putting their nominated games along with a suggested rule set and features that will end up making the game even more difficult.
Everyone has 5 hours to complete their submission for that particular week. You can use it all, or you can use less of it if you are Markman.
Once a game is selected, you're going to end up having 2 weeks to submit that score, at which point the scores are decided and the leaderboards are updated for the season.
And how that works for us is we'll be kind of running on a week behind the submissions. So basically, we're going to be talking about Megaman this week because this week is the week after Megaman closed, and we'll carry on in that tradition.
Thankfully, both of us ended up entering in for the Mega Man and had slightly different experiences. Usually with the Wheel of Struggle, I only end up getting about 2 to 3 hours usually in with each game, unless I decide that I'm going to do a bonus stream, in which case I will end up using up that 5 full hours. Now, I was going to end up using a bit more for the submission that is closing this week, which is the Metroid Prime Randomizer. However, I don't think I'm going to get around to that.
Oh no. Have you played a lot of regular vanilla Super Metroid?
Not for many, many years. I think the last time I played it was the original release of Metroid on the NES on the Switch Online Pass.
Oh right, okay. Well, you definitely want to spend some time in Super Metroid between now and then if you can, because it really makes an awful lot of a difference. Deki tried it this week. We'll cover it later when we talk about Super Metroid next week, but Deki tried it without a map or with prior knowledge of Super Metroid, and all I could do was feel for him in that moment.
Poor sod. He must have been having a bit of a rough time with that.
For anyone who doesn't know us, by the way, because quite a lot of you will be Wheel of Strugglers and you will be aware of us and the things that we say and do on the Discord. But to anyone who doesn't know, my name is Garlips. Hi. I'm a streamer. I've been a streamer for a while. And yeah, I tend to gravitate towards the horror games, you know, the hard challenges. Survival horror is kind of my wheelhouse. That's where I exist and live. I've been thinking of things I can possibly submit to the wheel that will be from the world of survival horror because I really want to... The horror quota. I'm also a speedrunner. I play games fast. I've been quite tempted to submit a couple of the games that I speedrun as revenge. As cold-blooded revenge. One at least that springs to mind would be Eat Lead Maximum %, which I will let Mr. Matt explain when he covers his brief history with video games and streaming. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, you can always reach out and say hello. You can catch me at twitch.tv/Garlips. That's the place you can find me. Also, you can go to Twitter while it's still erect, I guess, before it falls down completely. You can find me there as It's Garlips, or you just search Garlips, you'll find me.
Mr. Matt Internet is one of the premier streamers of being one of the worst streamers on twitch.tv. He's found all over on other places such as the YouTubes, the Instagrams, the MySpaces, and many more. I don't know where else I could possibly be. Mr. Matt Internet always ends up doing his streams on Wednesday nights at 8:30 over on www.twitch.tv/Mr. Matt Internet. He constantly ends up appearing in different Discord servers to pose weird and stupid questions almost every day. Who knows where he's going to show up next? Hopefully not in your bins or bushes. Not only is Mr. Matt Internet one of the people who streams on Twitch, he also ends up doing some speedruns, having introduced Eat Lead The Return of Matt Hazard into the speedrunning world. He ended up adding the wonderful standard minimum %, and then Garlips only came along and ended up putting in a maximum hazard percentage. What a lad.
I stole it from Mr. Matt, and I have no reservations or apologies about that. I 100%, I'm glad that I did that, and I will continue to do it. I'm sorry, Mr. Matt.
Garlips, what do you get out of the Wheel of Struggle every week? I mean, it took so long to end up grinding you down, and now you seem to be actually enjoying the Wheel of Struggle. In fact, so much so that you've even started a podcast about it. I mean, what do you get out of the Wheel of Struggle anyway?
I feel very much like you get out what you put into the Wheel of Struggle. So there are some people, and I mean, you know, no judgments. Everyone is allowed to do what they want to do when it comes to the wheel. But I feel the best way to play the Wheel of Struggle is to make sure that you submit every single week. And that is to try every game, including the ones that you might not necessarily think you like or have even considered playing before. For me, some of the real surprises of this Wheel of Struggle season so far have been the things that I'd never heard of or I'd heard of and I thought I hated. But when I actually spent some time with them, I ended up enjoying them. So for me, it's something being thrown in front of me that I may or may not know, and someone saying, go on then, get a score in it. And just that process is incredibly fun. You know, there's the excitement of making sure you tune in for the wheel spins. You can see what's going to be the next one. And as well as that, submitting potentials for next season as well. So I find a lot of fun in all of the parts of the wheel, but especially for me, you know me, my history is kind of based in challenges. I like trophies and platinums. I like hard modes. I've played a lot of those on my stream already. So, I mean, some of them are probably going to inform some submissions in the future as well.
I really like seeing the nominations. Like, a lot of people end up getting very, very passionate about the games that they want to end up bringing forward or want to end up introducing to other people. I think they need to learn the lesson that a lot of people have learned the hard way this season, where if you love a game, don't put it forward for a nomination, because chances are a lot of people are going to end up immediately not having some nice things to say about it until they actually play it. I don't want to end up bringing up any specific games, you know, just generally, just a fantasy about these sorts of things.
Really? Because I was going to say Star Fox.
Oh.
So.
You mean Starwing?
Yeah, I mean Starwing, of course.
Of course. But yeah, I love seeing the nominations pop up. But for me, it is trying lots of different games. It's trying a lot of things that I wouldn't end up usually trying. Some of them are things that I've never even heard of, like Into the Breach. I've had that in my Steam library somehow for years and years, but I have never played it. And the wheel forced me to play it, and I had a great time with it. Really, really good time with it. Other things that I thought I would get on with, such as Starwing. You know, Starwing the way it's supposed to be said. I just didn't enjoy at all. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. Every screenshot I've seen of it has been a pixelated hell. It's just been a mess of maths, and I just knew that I wouldn't really enjoy it all that much, but I thought I might end up having a pleasant time with it. I thought maybe I'll get over it and I'll just end up having a great time with it. You know, lots of people can't be wrong, but no. No, just...
I've dabbled with Starwing in the past, mainly because I loved Lila so very, very much. And I was like, well, let's see where this began. And so I saw it, and I played it for about 5 minutes. And like you, I mean, when it came up as the wheel spin, I said to you, oh, I can't wait to play Triangles, the game, because it very much feels like that to me. I know what I'm supposed to be seeing. I know the illusion of 3D that's there, but to me it just looks like a garbled mess. So, I mean, I've been very vocal, though, about Starwing, aka Star Fox, in the Discord, to the point where I had to, like, literally time myself out and say, Garlips, let it go. So I have let it go, but seeing as we're not going to be doing a podcast about Starwing, because it's already passed... Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to break that.
Are you sure about that? Are you absolutely sure about that? Because, as you mentioned earlier, we are going to be doing an off-season, and we will be covering the games of Season 4.
True.
So, as much as you want to end up getting away from Starwing, we're not. You are still going to end up having the Starwing / Star Fox pop up, and you're going to have to discuss it more. No timing out from this one, I'm afraid.
That is true. However, I can still just continue to shit on it without ever having to revisit it.
That's
Unless
true.
it comes up next season as a revenge of the Return of a Legend. So.
I don't think it will do. I think with the Returns of the Legends, it's usually at least the previous, like, there's a gap between them. So we didn't see Season 3 in this one, so we've seen 1 and 2. So chances are in Season 5, we'll see 1, 2, and 3, but not Season 4.
So I've at least got a good year.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Other tyre manufacturers are available.
I was going to say like a blimp, which flies much better than an R-Wing.
Oh. See, your one was better.
See.
Garlips, what have we been suffering over for the past 2 weeks?
We have been entertaining the absolute bullshit that is Megaman the Willy Wars, aka the Willy Wars.
Well, let's just quickly go over what the hell a Mega Man is, and what is exactly the Willy Wars / Willy Wars.
I believe that a Megaman is a small blue little boy who lives inside a world filled with danger. He keeps getting beaten up by these robot lads who know him, and the only way to defeat them is to arbitrarily, somehow through some kind of osmosis, work out what the magical sequence is that you should kill them in so that you have the correct item or tool to kill the other ones. And of course, when it comes to the Wheel of Struggle, you're not allowed to look up things like that.
Definitely not. Definitely. Mega Man The Willy Wars was a Capcom published game. Capcom developed and published game released in 1994 in Japan. The game was eventually released over in Europe in 1995. However, the only release in North American markets was via the short-lived Sega channel, which would allow users to download games directly onto a cartridge for a temporary amount of time, whilst connected to some form of satellite or cable service.
I absolutely find these old pieces of technology that utilize the internet, like the Sega Saturn, the Mega Drive, or PlayStation 2, I just find them inherently fascinating because I never had any internet connection in any of those things, but internet connection existed and worked in them. It's crazy.
It is crazy when you think that the internet has been around for a lot longer than people give it credit for. I mean, I remember connecting to the internet in, the mid-90s on OS2 for Warp. Like, that's how I used to connect to the internet. Like, Windows 3.1 did not have internet connectivity at all. So you couldn't end up connecting to the internet via Windows. So you had to go into OS2 and use that instead, because it supported actually having the internet on there, actually connected via dial-up. So that was fun.
That's how we can tell that we're the old guys now, when we have to explain to the newer generation that the internet used to make a horrendous noise for about 2 minutes, and you couldn't use the phone at the same time.
Mate, my mum turned around to me the other day and ended up saying, "Your hair's going greyer, isn't it? It's going a lot greyer, isn't it? It's definitely going really grey." It's like, cheers, Ma. Cheers.
Thanks, Mum.
So, just a little thing about the Sega channel. I remember when it was actually going to be released over here as Sega TV. And I remember reading about it in Sonic the Comic, I believe it was. So it was in one of the February issues in 1995, I want to say. They were saying that it was going to be installed. It was going to be one of those services that you could end up getting an installation in for it. And I was convinced as a kid that I was definitely going to get it.
Sonic the Comic, though, can we just take a second to say, wow, Sonic the Comic was amazing growing up.
Oh, it really
I know
was.
a couple of the people who are kind of tangentially involved with it now. On Twitter, and I gather there's a new reinvention happening, and all of the old canons getting reinvented again. But I used to love the art in those, especially there was one guy, I think he's sadly passed now, but he used to do the Knuckles comics. Do you remember the Knuckles ones?
And
The art was really good.
And they ended up having a cranky old fella who used to end up popping up as well as oh, we're going to protect the Emerald. We're going to protect the Emerald. Psych. Push you out of the island. I'm going to end up having all my battle bots pop up. And it's like, oh, fantastic. A good old double cross.
Lovely. And if you're wondering at all, Wheel of Struggler, why we're talking about Sonic, it's because several people on the wheel hate Sonic, and so we're going to talk about Sonic a lot. Because I love Sonic, and we need to balance this out somehow.
Everyone always ends up like going, oh, Mario's games are amazing, Mario games are amazing. It's like, yeah, okay, that explains why he's surviving for so long. No one can explain how Sonic is surviving so long, considering that there was this really bleak period. Absolute bleak times. Like, the worst of the worst in terms of Sonic titles. I mean, I've played and completed both parts of Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Episodes 1 and 2. Because they couldn't be bothered to make episode 3. It was so bad. And yet, the fact that Sonic the Hedgehog still carries on, still survives, despite those games, I think is a bigger miracle than Mario still being around. Like, it's incredible.
And I think nowadays, I mean, honestly, Sonic was the one with a successful kids movie first. I mean, obviously there was a Mario movie in the 90s, but I mean, like, the most recent Super Mario Brothers movie is got Sonic 1 to blame. I think Sonic 1 is, like, the weird success of Sonic now appealing to a new generation. Well, I say weird, but I mean, Sonic has always appealed to cool people who like cool things. And I guess he's kind of, well, I was going to say evergreen, but I guess he's ever blue.
Oh, that was awful. Just quickly back.
Speaking of blue bastards.
Yeah.
Because the sense that I got, having never played a Mega Man game in my entire life, apart from, I think, Mega Man X5 on the PlayStation 1 for a few hours, maybe one time, is that this version of Mega Man is kind of, for want of a better word, like, very distanced from the creators of the original Mega Man. It's kind of a bit of a hybrid / abortive, weird baby child thing.
For me, it seems more like a precursor, because a lot of people our age will remember this, but the Capcom exclusivity deal that they had with the GameCube, like, it feels very much like this was an early prototype of it, where they had these Mega Man titles on the NES, and they wanted to do something with them, get a little bit more money out of it, because the NES wasn't as popular as the Sega machines in certain markets, like Brazil and Europe. Nintendo was a bit behind Sega. So with the Mega Drive doing so well in those markets, it would make good business sense to release one of your hottest properties on there, one of the ones that are doing really well, in a new bundle, in a new set, so you can end up making some more money out of it. So I think that's
the Prototype Classics collection.
It really is.
Wow.
It's bringing apart the Mega Man games that were released for the NES and putting a little bit of a new coat of paint on them and bringing them over to another machine so that you can end up reselling them, basically. It's a really nice and effective way of being able to do that. And the Mega Drive was one of the systems that I remember having a lot of these, like, collections on. You ended up having, like, the one that ended up having a Golden Axe and Streets of Rage and Super Hang-On and things like that.
Columns.
The columns.
Yeah, there was one with columns on. There was also a Sonic Compendium cart. I had it had Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on it.
The excellent Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. And that version, if memory serves me right, is actually pretty good for speedrunning. I think it's the Sonic 2 that's on there is actually a pretty good build for speedrunning from what I've read.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so
yeah, I've heard many people in the Discord over the course of the struggle with this game bemoan the version here. But I mean, as I had never played any of these original versions, I encountered no real gameplay problems, I felt personally. But I'm gathering that when I do eventually, if I ever go to the NES versions and play those, I'm sure I probably will see that they are the tighter versions.
I think that's probably got more to do with the hardware that was running them, and then the fact that the older games on the original NES probably had a bit more slowdown, and also ended up having an easier Cutman fight in Mega Man 1.
Really? That's interesting.
There was also some other exploits that you could end up using, because in the original Mega Man, you could end up opening the select menu, if memory serves me right, and you could keep doing frame by frame tick damage onto the Yellow Demon, and that would keep doing that. Sorry, Yellow Devil, and it would keep doing damage over and over and over again, so it would make that fight nothing. And Cutman also ended up having more knockback, less iframes, and got more damage from the Mega Buster. That was not the case in the Willy Wars.
I feel quite accomplished then, because I got Cutman down to one hit. I took one hit, and I reckon I could do it hitless.
Yeah.
God knows I've got enough practice on that fucking level.
That's the thing. When Cutman is traditionally the first boss you take on.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm not sure if I killed Cutman first, actually. I think I killed someone else.
Probably Gutsman.
It might have been Gutsman. It might have been... Oh, goodness. It might have been Electricity. No, because I remember using the blades against him. I'll have to check the VOD. The VOD will be on screen right now. You can see exactly who I killed first and in what order. But as I gather, Mr. Matt, you had some previous experience with some of these Mega Mans?
I've played some of these Mega Mans. I've played the modern releases that they ended up having, because Mega Man went through a renaissance, which seemed to be quite popular about 10 years ago or so. I played the original Mega Man briefly, so I remember seeing a lot of the order of the bosses, but I only played a brief part of it. I've not actually completed it before. And I played Mega Man, I want to say 10 and 11 were the most recent ones they released. But I got those on Xbox Live Arcade, so I've ended up running through a good chunk of those on those platforms. And that's about it. I've played a lot more Mega Man X. A lot more Mega Man X. In fact, to the point where I've actually got... this is one of my favourite titles of all time. Mega Man X Command Missions. It's a JRPG, but with Mega Man X.
That's delightful.
Oh, it absolutely is. If you've never played it before, it's peak PS2.
Well, I mean, yes, you might not know this, viewers, but my favourite console of all time is the PlayStation 2, so I need to make it my mission to play Command.
Yes, I would really recommend it because, yeah, it's really good. It's really, really good.
But moving back to the original Mega Mans and the Willy Wars containing them within, I had absolutely no experience other than, I think, like I said, Mega Man X5, which I remember liking. I think that's the one that's got some of the bosses that are named after Guns N' Roses members. And I gather that's a bit of a running theme with some of these characters as the series goes on.
They tried to give them some form of theming, so it varies wildly from game to game. However, one thing will always remain exactly the same. And this was, I don't know if this is absolutely true for the Mega Man games, but I imagine it is. It's absolutely true for the Mega Man X games. Whenever they say, the main enemy is dead, he's not coming back, this is the end, he's definitely gone this time, it's a new dude who's doing all of this, the robot masters are all being corrupted by a completely different dude. Oh, wait a minute, it's 2 minutes from the end of the game, it turned out it was the original dude all along. They did that with every Mega Man X game. It was like, oh, it's definitely this dude, it's definitely this dude. 2 minutes from the end, oh, it was Sigma again. Oh, darn it, who could have seen that coming?
I remember Sigma being the enemy of X5 as well.
Yep, he always is.
Big floating head. Half the time he was.
There's one where he's the Statue of Liberty. It's incredible. That's a way to open your game. Corrupt the Statue of Liberty and end up turning it into Sigma's giant, big-bowled face. It's incredible.
I mean, compared to that, Mr. Wily is small time. Sorry, Dr. Wily. I forgot his doctorate there.
He does have a doctorate. He's doctorate of thugonomics, I believe. Mate, I was actually looking on Twitter the other day and someone was posting shots from the Mega Man comic. It's bleak as hell.
Really?
Oh, it really is. Like, there was one of the Robot Masters who has been defeated by Mega Man and he was just like sort of looking up going, you gotta do what you gotta do, kid. And Mega Man just blasts him through the head. And it's like, bloody hell!
Wow, okay.
Super,
that sounds hardcore.
Super fighting robot Mega Man!
But it was brought up when the person who, I think, was it Octo? Who put forward the Mega Man submission. Anyway, when they posted the rules, they also posted about the Proto Men, which is like literally my only real knowledge of Mega Man comes from the Proto Men, who are an American sort of like classic rock / progressive kind of band that writes songs about the Mega Man series. Mm-hmm. Their album Act 2 is all about Mega Man 2 apparently, and you can hear people like, it's like this really good music, and then every so often it'll say something like Dr. Light, and you're like, oh yeah, this is a Mega Man thing.
Man,
I forgot. It's a Mega Man thing.
If we're bringing in artists that are based around the Mega property, the Mega Man property, then I will have to end up giving a shout out to Mega Ran, who ends up doing fantastic rap music based around video game properties. He did the theme tune for Wrestling with Regret, which is a wrestling YouTube series, and he ended up doing an absolutely fire title sequence for that. I believe the kids say fire. But yeah, if you like the possibility of mega video game rapping, check out Mega Man. It's really, really good.
I will have to. And I mean, like that song from, I think it's Mega Man 2. the one that's been like covered like 100 times by 100 different people. I forget the name of it, but I know the one that I mean.
Probably title theme from Mega Man 2.
It's
probably that then.
That one.
I think that's
I think that's Slightly Insane.
No, I think it is Slightly Insane, but I think the actual name of that song is Through the Keyhole.
Well, whether Through the Keyhole is the real name or not, I've probably put it in post, and it's probably visible.
You hope so.
I hope so. I mean, hopefully I've done the due diligence on that, but I probably just forget, let's face it. So, when it came to Mega Man, we had differing experiences. The challenge was to complete all 3 Mega Mans, Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, and then you got bonus points for defeating the Wily Tower as well. There were bosses included in each game, and we were strictly told which ones counted as progress and which ones didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, my submission, I tried all 3 Mega Man games. I found that I had the most joy actually with Mega Man 1. Most people were saying that Mega Man 2 and 3 are much better than Mega Man 1. I actually enjoyed Mega Man 1 more in my brief time with the game. And I got to the level with Copy Man. In fact, I fought Copy Man several times and died, and that's where I decided to end an hour early for me, which is not usually my case on the Wheel Struggle. I usually try to give it the full 5 hours, be too legit to quit, but no, I decided I'd had enough once Copy Man, I think, demolished me the 5th or the 6th time. Because to get to Copy Man, you also have to kill Cuts Man and Elect Man with no health pickups in between. You do get a checkpoint. Wait, no, there was one health pickup between Cut Man and Elect Man. If you took it once, it was gone the other times.
Yep.
And once you get past Elect Man, you did get like a checkpoint. But after that, I was just I struggled. I really, really did struggle. But you, Mr. Matt, you had slightly more success.
Yeah, with Mega Man 1, it went pretty smoothly. I mean, I ended up having a few little sections where I ended up botching it, didn't end up killing the boss fast enough, or in one case just completely missed throwing the big blocks and not being able to use them again, which is wonderful. Especially since it was like, oh, fantastic, I can use the rocks on Cutman. It'll melt his health. No. Botch both shots and have to do it normally. Great job. But yeah, I had a really good time with the original Mega Man. I ended up doing my usual shorter amount of time. So I didn't get a lot of time with Mega Man 2, but I really wish I did, because when I ended up seeing the leaderboard, I was like, only a couple of robot masters and I would have moved much higher up the table. Much higher up. And yeah, I stuffed it there. So it's alright though, because it means that when we inevitably end up having to play Mega Man 4, we're just going to have a great time.
Me and Markman have discussed several times how the fact that you only play a certain amount of time and not necessarily always the full 5 hours is kind of like, you know, in anime when they have a limiter on to hold back their power. We strongly feel that your limiter is you apply less time so that you are fair, like it's fairer for the rest of us. If you're allowed the full 5 hours, you usually score quite highly. So.
If I end up having time for the full 5 hours, but I'm not going to for Metroid, so I know that I'm going to end up having to just rush through that as fast as possible. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
As someone who has done his Super Metroid submission, the only thing I can say to you is you're allowed a map, use it. You're allowed to play vanilla Super Metroid beforehand, use it. When? Well, yeah, you need to find the time. Oh, so maybe we should just quit this podcast right now.
No. We're going to keep going, because we've got to end up talking about how Mega Man ended up affecting us in terms of the scoring, because I think you just missed out on the top 10 spot for this one.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I was ahead of some other people who also hadn't played the game before. So I think most people who had some experience with at least some form of classic Mega Man did fairly well. I'm actually quite happy. I was watching Deki while he was playing, God love him, because he was getting just as tilted and just as salty as me in exactly the same place, and that was Iceman's level. I got to Iceman. I think I got to Iceman before everyone else. Like, I think it was maybe the 4th boss that I played or something, and I just struggled on the level so much I went and did everyone else and then came back to Iceman's level, and luckily I managed to work out that I had the little thing that makes platforms, but I don't believe by the end of the stream that Deck had found that. I can't remember if he did or not.
Don't think he did.
I don't think he did, no.
Just a quick update. The final placements for Mega Man were: in number 1, we've got Markman. In number 2, Return of Octobot. Number 3, Love and Floofen. Number 4, it's Quantum P1. Number 5, Tater 84. Number 6, Kylo Number 7, 16-bit Hyper Turbo. Number 8, Mr. Shadow Man. Sorry, Mr. Matt Internet. Number 9, Kythias. Number 10, Garlips. Number 11, Flame Wheel. Number 12 is Decky. And at number 13, Full Cup. And coming up at number 14th, it's Stormfeather.
I want to say, Stormfeather has really been stepping up, even though they only really joined for the Symphony of the Night, because they were familiar with Symphony of the Night. I think they've played everything since, or tried to, so fair play. I feel that's strongly what the entire Wheel of Struggle is all about.
Absolutely. I'm really delighted to end up seeing, I think he ended up popping up into one of your streams, 16-bit Hyper Turbo. And very enthusiastic lad. Very enthusiastic. Yeah. And I love the fact that he's giving everything a shot on the Wheel of Struggle.
Taken straight to the wheel, yeah.
Absolutely taken straight into it. And also along with that, he's doing everything with a fight stick. What a legend.
You love to see it. I mean, it's rubbing off on me. Although there's definitely some stuff we played recently that I think would probably be more comfortable on a controller, I do think we have also played some fighting games and things that have definitely made me think I want to get a fighting stick at some point.
I was down visiting family, and my brother has picked up the new Hori 6-button controller for the Xbox Series consoles. I really want one. I really want one, because I've got the Xbox 360 Street Fighter 4 6-button controllers, and those things have such a lovely D-pad and lovely 6 buttons that it is perfect for Mega Drive games, and there have been so many Mega Drive games on this season of the wheel that it's just been so handy. It
served you well for Aladdin, if I recall correctly. Mm-hmm. You definitely were talking about it while you were playing Aladdin.
Yeah. For Aladdin I used that as well, and I was hoping to do better in Aladdin.
I was gonna say, maybe you should hope for the Lion King on Return of a Legend, but I recently replayed the Lion King when I went back to get Platinum in the Aladdin / Lion King Disney collection, and Aladdin holds up. Lion King does not hold up.
No, stuff the Lion King. It's not a fun game. Not a fun game at all. It should be left in the relics of history, really. Like, do you ever think of like some of these older games as being sort of like different eras in movies? Like, you can end up having like black and white movies and things like that, and you can see the ones that didn't have a lot of care and attention on. There's ones that were regarded as classics, but when you go back to watch them, you don't really see a lot of appeal with them. You're like, this. Yeah. I imagine at the time this was great. This was, if you had nothing else, this was incredible. This was one of the best games ever released, but looking back at it now, it's like, no, maybe not. Like, it's the same thing you get with certain films. Like, they also end up doing those throwbacks in film where they end up having like, oh look, we've done a black and white film, but it's all modern, ha ha ha, new techniques.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just going mad.
No, you're not going mad. I think it's, especially with games, because recently we were talking about Starwing. Now, I think if you grew up with a game, you're going to have more time for it, for its eccentricities. You're going to have more time for its gameplay quirks. For things that it doesn't do right, you're probably going to overlook them a lot more than other people. And so that's why the wheel is really good, because there are a bunch of people who played a bunch of shit that I never played when I was a kid. So I'm approaching it now as an adult, and I'm here in 2023 with the modern conveniences of save points, checkpoints, good controls, smooth control schemes, everything. And so when I pick up something like Starwing, I'm like, yikes. But there's someone else who played Starwing to death, and like it's was it Full Cup?
Mhm.
Full Cup put forward Starwing. Despite my salt about Starwing, honestly, I'm still glad that I played it, because it was one of those things that I'd never played for more than 5 minutes before, and I managed to get to Andros and beat Andros once. Right? It was on the easiest route, but I don't care. You can't take that from me. Okay, it's progress that I made, and so I'm kind of glad that I did do that, even though I swore the entire time, and yet again I ended an hour early than I was going to, because I had literal wrist fatigue in my fingers and hands. They were just so sore. So I'm kind of glad that we do revisit these different eras, but yeah, it's very hard to kind of view them from the eyes of a 5-year-old back in the early 90s.
Yeah, you can't kind of look at it and go, well, okay, I can understand why this might be fun for someone who's not played a lot of video games, but I've now got instant access to a wide range of games that have ended up fixing all of the faults that this game has, and done it a lot better. Like I can play the modern one that doesn't end up sucking.
Yeah, now see, I can imagine, right? There's a child me in 1994 or 95, I forget. You said the date and I still forgot. When, say, gets Megaman the Willy Wars for Christmas, right? And is not getting another game until probably his birthday, 6 months, 7 months from then. So, it's probably 2 games a year, and you've got Megaman Wiley Wars. So you're just going to sit down and you're going to play that every time, every day, for hours and hours and hours, until you work out what the route is for the right robot masters, until you can do it with your eyes closed, or at the very least you become very skilled. And I can only imagine how fucking happy and amazing and over the moon I would feel to then have someone on the struggle suggest Megaman the Wiley Wars, because it's yes, this is my good time. But because I don't have that experience, and I walked into several brick walls, and so did Deck, and so did other people, so I feel justified. It's not just me. But I think if you kind of grew up on those kind of hard games like Mega Man, then I don't know, maybe it helped you get good. Maybe because Markman just walked into it and just I can't remember if Markman actually has played Mega Man before, but he seems very much one of those kind of old schoolers when it comes to those kind of platformers and stuff. Based purely alone on his Super Metroid performance, which I've watched after my submission, and yikes, they are night and day. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
I think that's just how most things in life go, We just end up getting completely stuffed over unless we've got those rose-tinted goggles to end up covering all the cracks of modern life. I think I was making a point there, but I think it died midway through. Anyways... have we got anything else to end up saying about Mega Man?
Well, I think that leads us very nicely onto our haikus, because I've decided, it's our podcast and we can do what I want, Mum. So I've decided that we're going to write haikus about our experiences with every game that we deal with on the Wheel of Struggle, because poetry is fun and cool, and I don't care, Mum, you can't tell me what to do. So we're going to do some haikus now, based on Mega Man. Would you like to go first?
I can certainly give it a shot.
Well, I'm all ears. I'm here. I'm ready for your poem.
All right. I'm sorry about the delivery. We'll see how this goes. While Scarlet does this, it would be really great if we could get some text running across the screen. Hopefully some flower petals, something nice like that.
I've decided it's not going to be flower petals. It's going to be leaves. But
Okay.
I've already got it all ready, and it looks really nice. So yep. Prepare to besmirch my beautiful leaves with your rugged poetry.
Hopefully there's some Mega Man heads, floating along as well.
There are now.
Oh, wonderful. Right, here we go. A rousing summer. Before gruff Mega Man flops. Watching the bumhole.
Ooh. That's mysterious. Enigmatic. Is there a second stanza, or did you just limit
That's
it to
it,
one?
that's it.
I like it. I like it. I do. It's
Terrorful.
It evokes, it evokes a kind of a deep mysteriousness.
Of the bumhole.
Of the bumhole, yes. Sorry,
You were thinking of the bumhole.
I was thinking of the bumhole there, and I couldn't think of anything else.
Stop thinking of the bumhole. Why are you thinking of Megaman's bumhole? Why?
Well,
God,
I mean, you know, if Dr. Light is going to build these weird little child robots, I mean, it's a bit dodgy, don't you think?
It is incredibly dodgy. It's not as dodgy as you calling your new bot Judgment Bum.
How did you know that?
It's almost as if I've got your chat still open on screen. Anyways.
Well, I will read for you my haiku now, and it is a double stanza, because I didn't feel I could adequately convey my experience with just one stanza. So
Okay, right, here we go.
double
2 stanzas.
Okay.
Garlips,
Here's my
here we
haiku.
go. Garlips, go!
Little blue bastard. Memorize the platform jumps. Spike pits welcome you. Gurning robot cunts. Unknown order of weakness. The weakness is mine. Think about that. See, Mr. Matt isn't actually making applause right now, but I've just copied in a sound effect of applause, and it sounds rapturous. There's so much of it. Oh, stop. Oh, stop. But I felt like the weakness is mine because I don't know what order to fight the bosses in. So the weakness is mine, really, when you think about it.
It is very, very powerful, but you can't use a Mega Buster on yourself, because I've tried and I've been kicked out of at least 3 branches of being cute because of it.
Oh my god.
What's up?
I've got visions of Megaman with like his foot in the bottom of the picture.
And that's how we broke Garlips.
Yes! I need to be fixed by preferably Dr. Wily, not Dr. Light. I don't trust him.
Yeah, Dr. Willy
okay.
definitely can sort a lot of things out.
Dr. Willy can sort a lot of things out. Right, I'm not sure exactly what this has been or how it's been put together, but this is the first episode of The Struggle is Real, and we really hope that you enjoyed our nonsense. We will be back next time when we're going to be talking about Super Metroid Randomizer, which is I've already submitted, and Mr. Matt will be doing just a few evenings from now. All that remains to be said is thank you for listening. If you are interested in joining the Wheel of Struggle and you somehow listened to a 20-30 minute podcast about it without ever discovering why, you can go to this address and you can find out all kinds of information about the Wheel of Struggle. You can also join the Discord. Links will be below the video. All that remains to be said is let's hope to see you in the Wheel of Struggle. Mr. Matt, do you have anything to add?
I don't have much else to add other than I hope we will see you again for another fantastic episode of The Struggle is Real with your hosts, Garlips and Mr. Matt Internet. I'm looking forward to the next one already. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy.
No, Mr. Matt, you shouldn't eat the podcast. No, stop, stop, stop! Every day I'm struggling. Every day I'm struggling.
Unsolicited segue. Haiku! Bring, what's that? Oh, it's another segment without a header.
This week's game.
Who knows what the hell we're talking about?
Placeholder.txt.
Hold up, I think I might defecate myself. I'm cutting it down. The internet. I'm cutting it down. While you get all that stuff of our house off the internet right now.
I'm working on it.
Yes! Yes! Right, so that was the bonus segment to The Struggle is Real, which is just covering a small section of our favourite Chris Chan quotes.
If you plug your Patreon into our wallets and then you press the X button, hey, guess what? you can unlock all kinds of bonus content. So look forward to that.
Also sign up to have me call you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, screaming, non-stop.
He won't stop. He won't stop. Even if you stop paying, he won't stop.
There we go. What a wonderful advertisement for 2 additional products that we can sell.
I think, yeah, these have got legs. We could definitely monetize this.
Should we stop recording?